Have you ever felt like you're playing a different game than everyone else? Like you're using a rule book that mysteriously vanished for everyone else? You see others effortlessly navigate social currents, commanding attention, influencing decisions, while you, perhaps with genuine wisdom and a good heart, find yourself unseen, overlooked. It's a quiet frustration, isn't it? The world doesn't always reward the purest intentions. It often bends to the will of those who understand its hidden currents. For centuries, philosophers, strategists, and thinkers have grappled with this enigma. From ancient Stoics to modern psychologists, the quest has been to understand the invisible forces that shape human interaction. Why do some voices resonate, while others, equally valid, fade into the background? It's not about manipulation or overt aggression. It's about a subtle mastery of the human psyche, a deep understanding of what truly moves people, what holds their attention, and what earns their genuine respect. Today, we're not just discussing philosophy, we're uncovering the psychological architecture of influence. This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about empowering your authentic self with tools to be heard, to be valued, to finally shape your own narrative. I once found myself in that silent struggle. My ideas were sound, my efforts sincere, yet my impact felt minimal. It was a journey from feeling like a mere observer to becoming a genuine participant in the grand tapestry of human connection. This shift began with realizing that the world isn't a passive stage. It's a dynamic, intricate dance of perceptions, expectations, and unspoken agreements. And to dance effectively, you need to understand the rhythm. This understanding isn't dark, it's simply deep. It's about moving beyond superficial interactions to truly grasp the undercurrents of human decision-making and group dynamics. The principles we're about to explore have roots in timeless wisdom, from the observations of Sun Tzu on strategic positioning to the insights of behavioral psychology. They offer a lens through which to view human nature, not as inherently good or bad, but as fundamentally responsive. Responsive to clarity, to presence, to a well-articulated purpose. Before we delve into these 8 principles, I encourage you to set an intention. In the comments below, declare, "I am ready to cultivate a presence that commands respect." This isn't just a comment, it's an active step towards integrating these ideas, towards building a new, more effective blueprint for your interactions. Are you ready to discover the subtle art of impactful presence? Let's begin. Number 1. The illusion of universal justice. This is often our first hurdle. We're wired to hope for inherent fairness, a cosmic balance where effort always equals reward. But relying solely on this often leaves us waiting while the proactive shape their own realities. Expecting the universe to deliver justice on a silver platter often means missing opportunities to cultivate it ourselves. It's not about abandoning ethics, but understanding that active shaping of outcomes is often necessary. Think of it. How many times have you been scrupulously fair, only to find yourself at a disadvantage? How often have you given generously, only for your generosity to be taken for granted? This isn't a flaw in your character. It's a misalignment with the reality that influence often stems from active engagement, not passive expectation. The world responds to those who clearly articulate their value and navigate its currents with intention. Consider a stream. The water flows, seemingly on its own. But the course of that stream is shaped by the banks, by the rocks, by the very landscape it carves. Our interactions are similar. If we don't actively participate in shaping the banks, in placing the rocks, our course might be dictated by default rather than by design. We confuse hoping for an outcome with actively contributing to its manifestation. The wisdom here isn't to become unjust, but to recognize that justice often needs an advocate, your advocate. It's about understanding that waiting for your turn, for someone to notice your worth, is a strategy of passivity. Instead, the impactful individual learns to articulate their needs, establish their boundaries, and guide interactions towards mutually beneficial or self-honoring conclusions. When someone oversteps, your response isn't an argument about right or wrong in an abstract sense. It's a clear, calm demonstration that such actions have a tangible impact on the future of that interaction. It's about creating an environment where valuing you becomes a natural, logical choice for others, rather than a moral obligation they might overlook. Number 2, strategic calm, not emotional chaos. Many believe strength is expressed through intensity, loud arguments, fiery declarations. But true influence often resides in the quiet, steady command of oneself. Reactive individuals are like open books. Their buttons are visible, their response is predictable. This makes them vulnerable to anyone skilled enough to push those buttons. Impactful individuals understand that emotions are valuable signals, not mandatory commands. They feel anger, disappointment, or frustration, but they don't become those emotions. Instead, they process them, learning from the information these feelings provide, and then choose a response that aligns with their deeper goals, not just their immediate impulse. Imagine a chess player. They don't rage when an opponent makes a good move. They observe, they analyze, and then they counter-strategize. Their internal state is one of focused calm, even amidst the pressure of the game. This is the essence of strategic calm in human interaction. It's the ability to absorb a challenge without being derailed by it. When confronted or challenged, the emotionally reactive person might defend, explain, or attack back. This often escalates conflict and diminishes their perceived control. The strategically calm individual, however, might pause, gather their thoughts, and then deliver a response that is measured, impactful, and often disarmingly composed. Perhaps they acknowledge the point, then pivot, reframing the discussion. Perhaps they ask a question that shifts the dynamic. Or perhaps they simply let a trivial attack pass, demonstrating that it holds no sway over their inner equilibrium. The key is that every action is a choice, not an involuntary reaction. Observe those you truly respect. Do they often lose their temper? Are they easily swayed by provocation? Unlikely. They maintain a steady hand on the rudder of their own emotional ship. This inner stability projects an aura of unshakable confidence, making others think twice before attempting to disrupt it. Number 3, respect as the true currency. This challenges a deeply ingrained belief that universal likability is the ultimate social goal. While being liked is pleasant, being respected is fundamentally more powerful. People may like you and still take liberties, assuming your good nature will absorb their transgressions. But when they respect your boundaries and your presence, they approach with caution and consideration. Likable people might be sought out for comfort. Respected people are sought out for counsel, for leadership, for their presence in critical moments. Likability often makes you agreeable. Respect makes you essential. The shift is subtle but profound. Instead of asking, "How can I make them like me?" you ask, "How can I demonstrate my value and maintain my integrity in this interaction?" Consider this. Who gets approached with trivial requests that waste their time?
The most elegant forms of influence don't rely on constant personal enforcement, but on creating predictable systems where actions naturally lead to outcomes. This removes the emotional burden from you and places the choice on the other person. If you constantly have to get angry or issue threats, you're giving away your power. Your influence becomes dependent on your emotional state. But if you establish clear, logical systems where respectful behavior unlocks access and disrespectful behavior naturally closes it, then the system itself does the work. Think of a well-designed organization. Its processes, its reward structures, its disciplinary actions are all systematic. They operate irrespective of the manager's mood. Employees know that certain actions lead to certain results, not because the manager is being nice or being mean, but because the system is consistent. In your personal sphere, this means instead of arguing with a friend who always cancels last minute, you might simply stop including them in plans for time-sensitive activities, offering more flexible options instead. You don't make it a punishment, you make it a natural consequence. Instead of getting frustrated by colleagues who always dump extra work on you, you establish a system where your capacity is clearly communicated, and additional tasks require formal approval or a reciprocal exchange. You're not being difficult, you're operating within a clear, defined system. This approach creates psychological authority because it's impersonal and consistent. People can't argue with a system the way they can argue with a person. They learn that their access to your time, your help, or your collaboration is directly tied to their own actions. This shifts the responsibility to them, encouraging self-regulation and respect. Number 8. The power of understated presence. The truly impactful individual rarely needs to declare their power. Those who constantly boast, threaten, or demand attention often betray their own insecurity. Real influence is not loud, it's felt. It's a quiet hum, a steady current, an undeniable presence. The most dangerous person in a room isn't always the loudest or most aggressive. It's often the one who is observing, listening, processing, the one whose gaze holds a depth that suggests a mind always at work. They don't perform, they simply are. Their power is assumed, not announced. Think of the wisdom of a quiet elder whose words are few but profound. Their influence doesn't come from volume but from gravitas. Similarly, a leader who calmly navigates a crisis, taking decisive action without fanfare, earns far more respect than one who dramatically declares their competence. In practical terms, this means cultivating a sense of calm self-assurance. You don't need to dominate every conversation. You choose your moments to speak, and when you do, your words carry weight. You build your skills, your connections, your capabilities quietly, letting your results speak for themselves. Your influence isn't about being seen as the biggest or the strongest. It's about being recognized as someone who understands the deeper currents, who moves with intentionality, and whose presence shifts the dynamic of any room they enter. This is a subtle yet profound form of power. The choice is yours, to remain adrift on the currents of default or to become a skilled navigator of the human experience. These principles aren't about becoming a different person. They're about empowering the person you already are with a more sophisticated understanding of interaction. If this journey resonates with you, like this video, share it with those ready to move from unseen to undeniably present, and subscribe to continue exploring the depths of human potential. Often, it's the person who consistently says yes, fearing disapproval. Who gets their opinions genuinely weighed in a group discussion? Often, it's the one whose contributions are known to be thoughtful, even if occasionally challenging. This doesn't mean being aloof or unfriendly. It means cultivating a presence that signals discernment. You are not a universal yes. You are a valuable resource, and your yes carries weight because your no is also a firm possibility. It means setting clear, kind, but unwavering boundaries. In practice, this looks like saying no to commitments that drain you without guilt. It means addressing subtle disrespect not with anger, but with a calm, firm statement that clarifies your expectations. It means being selective with your time and energy, investing it where it's genuinely valued rather than squandering it seeking approval. When others perceive you as someone with high standards for how you are treated and how your time is spent, they adapt. They learn that engaging with you requires a certain level of respect and consideration. This isn't about being intimidating. It's about radiating a quiet confidence that values itself, thereby inviting others to value it too. Number 4. Intentional action, not empty promises. A common pitfall for those striving for influence is the cycle of repeated warnings without follow-through. We issue threats we never enact, set boundaries we instantly retract, and complain about behaviors we implicitly permit. This doesn't build influence, it erodes it, training others to disregard our words. An impactful individual understands that action speaks with a volume words can only dream of. They might give fewer warnings, but when they act, their actions are clear, conclusive, and create a discernible shift. This isn't about dramatic displays, but about demonstrating consistency between declaration and execution. Consider a leader who constantly threatens layoffs but never follows through. Their workforce eventually tunes out the threats. Contrast this with a leader who, after clear communication and attempts at resolution, makes a difficult but necessary decision. The latter's words then carry immense weight because their actions have consistently validated them. In personal interactions, this means when you state a boundary, you uphold it. If someone repeatedly disrespects your time, you don't just complain. You adjust your availability to them. If a collaboration isn't working despite your efforts, you don't just lament, you make a strategic decision to disengage or alter your involvement. The key is that your actions are proportionate to the pattern of behavior rather than simply reacting to a single instance. This communicates a powerful message. My words are not idle. My boundaries are real, and my decisions, once made, are firm. This builds a reputation not for being difficult, but for being dependable in your principles. Over time, this consistent demonstration of follow-through creates a psychological impact. People learn that when you speak, it carries weight because your actions reinforce your words. You become someone whose decisions are respected and whose statements are taken seriously, simply because you mean what you say. Number 5. The architecture of perception. This is where many well-intentioned individuals stumble. They focus entirely on their internal virtue, assuming their worth will naturally shine through. But in a fast-paced world, perceptions often solidify long before deeper truths emerge. How others perceive you often dictates how they interact with you, regardless of your true character. This isn't about inauthenticity, it's about intentional presentation. If you don't actively curate how you are seen, the world or others will create a narrative for you, and it might not be the one you desire. Impactful individuals understand that their presence is a carefully constructed architecture, built on subtle cues and consistent messaging. Think of a meticulously designed building. Its structure, its facade, its landscaping all contribute to how it's perceived. Similarly, your posture, your communication style, your chosen associations, even your silence, all contribute to the perception of your competence, confidence, and value. If you enter a room with slumped shoulders and a hesitant gaze, you might be internally brilliant, but the immediate unconscious signal to others is one of uncertainty. If you walk in with an open posture, direct eye contact, and a clear voice, you instantly communicate a different story, one of assurance and capability. In practice, this means being mindful of your digital footprint, sharing your accomplishments, not boastfully but factually, and associating with individuals and environments that align with the presence you wish to cultivate. It means speaking with conviction even when your internal certainty isn't 100%. Your perceived value is often your initial entry point into opportunities and relationships. By actively managing these perceptions, you are not being disingenuous. You are simply ensuring that your true capabilities and character are not overshadowed by an unmanaged default presentation. Your reputation is your social currency. Invest in its careful cultivation. Number 6. The craft of narrative control. Beyond individual perception, there's the broader story, the narrative that frames events, decisions, and even conflicts. The person who controls this narrative often controls the understanding and memory of what transpired. Facts are important, but their interpretation is paramount. Most people focus solely on their actions. Impactful individuals also focus on the story being told about those actions. A difficult decision can be framed as ruthless or as courageous and strategic. A setback can be framed as a failure or as a valuable learning experience. The framing shapes the public and private understanding. Think of a historical event. The facts might be fixed, but how those facts are presented, The emphasis placed on certain aspects, the heroes and villains identified, all contribute to the prevailing narrative. This narrative, in turn, shapes public opinion, policy, and even future actions. In your own life, this means being proactive in defining situations. When you achieve something, tell the story of the effort, the insight, the principles involved, not just the outcome. When faced with criticism, you don't just defend, you reframe the criticism within a larger context, perhaps highlighting different motivations or larger goals. For example, if you implement a new, potentially unpopular policy at work, instead of simply announcing it, you frame it in terms of long-term vision, shared benefits, and strategic necessity. You get ahead of potential negative interpretations by providing a compelling alternative narrative. Advanced narrative control means anticipating how your actions might be interpreted and then proactively providing the most favorable, yet authentic interpretation. It's about being the author of your own story, rather than allowing others to write it for you. This is not about distortion, but about skilled articulation of truth. Number 7. Systems of reciprocity and consequence.